everyone. My name is Anna Martinsen, and I am a certified GAPS coach. With me today we have Jessica Roman, who's also a certified GAPS coach. You have a very special story to share, Jessica. We were in the training together, and I find it very fascinating. So I was hoping if you want to share a bit about it.
Yeah, first of all, thank you so much for having me. I'm truly honored. And my daughter is the main spotlight of the story. She was born with a rare genetic disorder called MMIHS that affects the smooth muscles of the body. So the small intestine, large intestine, and the bladder. So basically, that diagnosis is terminal because kids are not able to digest. Some children can't even digest breast milk because the motility in their intestines is too slow. So the food moves through too slowly. Things start to ferment in the gut, which causes a lot of gas that the intestines are too weak to push through. It's called a pseudo-obstruction, and those are deadly. They lead to volvuluses, which is where the intestines turn on themselves. So it's a very complex and sad diagnosis a lot of the time. And by the time, from birth, she always had these issues that we were dealing with. And by the time she was 2.5 years old, she had over 11 surgeries and she was in intestinal failure. So the next step would have been transplants and multiple organ transplants. These kids, unfortunately, they don't just get one transplant, they end up getting up to 5 organs. And the life expectancy after that is not very long. So it wasn't something that we ever wanted to do, but
No.
we didn't know what else to do. So that's when we found Dr. Becky Plotner, who was a GAPS practitioner, and she told us about the GAPS diet, and it completely blew our minds.
It's amazing.
Yeah, it was really incredible. My husband and I had prayed a lot about it. We're very strong in our faith, and when Dr. Becky told us about the diet, we knew it was our prayers being answered. And luckily, we already had a lot of experience about what foods our daughter would tolerate and which ones
Yeah.
she wouldn't. So we had already scaled her diet back a lot. So we had taken out starches, we had taken out grains, we took out fruits and vegetables because even fiber she can't digest whatsoever. Her intestines are not strong enough. So she was basically only eating meat and she was 100% dependent on IV nutrition. So she had a port in her chest and it went right to her heart. And that's how she would get all of her nutrition. So her liver was under a tremendous amount of stress processing all of that. It's basically soy and corn syrup that they
Okay.
inject into their veins to give them calories. And then she was also having blood sugar issues because of the high amount of sugar she was getting each day
Mm.
intravenously. So we were in a very bad position when we came to GAPS, and the prognosis was very grim.
It's a tough journey to
It
see your
was,
child suffer and you can't do anything.
yeah, it did feel that way. It felt very hopeless, but we never gave up looking for answers. And we actually used NoPlantGAPS for her. So we got her onto, originally we were doing some plants, like we were including some carrots and some spinach, but then we realized that she was having a lot of oxalate issues. And even the carrots were too much for her gut to handle. They were
Oh,
fermenting.
okay.
Even we were blending them. Even blending them, it was too fibrous and they were fermenting in her gut and causing some issues. So once we went fully down to NoPlantGAPS, she recovered so quickly. It was it was like a miraculous healing.
Yeah.
It
So
with
no plant that is No plant, of course, but it's meat and fat.
Meat and fat and organ meats and fermented dairy.
Okay.
And now she can do a little bit of like sauerkraut juice. So she's technically like low plant now. But yeah, so a lot of kefir, yogurt, lots of egg yolks. And what we did for her, because she had a feeding tube already in her stomach, so I actually make her G-tube feeds from scratch. So I make big pots of meat stock. And we had to start with chicken for her because beef was too cleansing and it was causing her body to detox too quickly. So we started with pastured chicken and we would cook huge pots of chicken meat stock, debone it all, blend it, add raw egg yolks and put it in her feeding tube. And that's how we started.
Yeah. And before you started with GAPS, you had to help her with everything, body functions, with the poop and pee and everything, right?
With everything, yeah. So she has an ileostomy, which we thought that would help a lot. It's where they bypass the colon and then they put a hole in your abdomen and your intestine comes out there. So you wear an ostomy bag on your stomach and that's where your waste gets collected. So she already had one of those prior to GAPS and we thought that that would be the answer, that if she had less intestine to go through that, but actually things got worse after we got that. And she started to have more gas, more distension, more dangerous pseudo-obstructions, and crazy electrolyte imbalances. So her electrolytes would just crash. And we were in the hospital with her nonstop. She was life-flighted 3 times in a helicopter, like near-death experiences with her. So yeah, it was constant medical care. And she was hooked up to her port with an IV pole, basically 18 to 20 hours per day. So she didn't really have the energy to run and play like a normal child. She didn't present like you would expect a 2.5-year-old to present.
Yeah.
She didn't play with her toys. She didn't talk. She wouldn't really do anything but sit on the couch.
Yeah.
And we would try to do like arts and crafts with her, but she just didn't have any interest because she had no energy. And she was very pale. Her stomach was huge and hard and distended all the time. And she had very tiny limbs from malnutrition. And then once we started her on the NoPlantGAPS diet, she was 26 pounds at 2.5. So for reference, my 13-month-old is almost 30 pounds. So she was very, very skinny, but she was still tall. So she just had no weight on her. And within 2.5 months, she gained 10 pounds. It was incredible to see. And, within the first week, we saw color come back to her cheeks. Her cheeks turned pink and her lips turned red. She just needed that iron. Prior to GAPS, she was getting 5 iron infusions per week.
Oh.
And then she has not needed an iron infusion since we started GAPS from all the liver. Thank God.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she put lots of weight on and we brought her back to the doctors and they couldn't believe they were looking at the same child. She was healthy, vibrant. Her hair, she grew so much hair just in 2 months. She had this big, thick head of curly hair now, and she was running and playing and talking up a storm. And she felt amazing. We would go to the playground and she would play for like 4 or 5 hours at a clip. I felt like she was making up for lost time. And she wouldn't stop at all during that time.
Yeah.
She just so much energy and she was behind physically because she never was very active. So she started to try to climb things and started to go upstairs and, started running for the first time. It really was like a miracle. And she was removed from IV nutrition by the team at the hospital. So she was able to get rid of her port, and she was able to go swimming for the first time.
Wow.
And take baths for the first time, because up until then I had to give her baths on the couch and just like give her sponge baths, because when you have a central line, it can't get wet because it's an open wound essentially on your chest all the time that leads to your heart.
Oh.
So many changes. Like, our life has become easy now. I still make tube feeds from scratch.
Yeah.
But I feel like I don't do any medical care. I just take care of her ileostomy pouch and make her G-tube feeds. And that's really all we have to do. And the other thing that happened was she started urinating on her own. So we know that there was actual healing on a neurological level in her smooth muscles.
Yeah.
Because she was in complete retention prior to GAPS. And now she's 5 years old and she just goes to the bathroom on her own.
And all of this just because of the food.
Yeah.
That healed it. It's so amazing. I mean, this isn't a common issue, thank God. But I mean, if you can heal her, you can heal everything.
That's exactly how I felt too.
Yeah.
Like, if you can have an issue that is so, it doesn't get any worse than intestinal failure, organ failure, right? And we were able to bring her back from that fully. She's not in intestinal failure anymore. She hasn't been for years. And now there's 6 families that I work with now who have children with the same diagnosis.
Yeah.
All of them have improved significantly. Every single child. Yeah.
Wow.
Some have made complete recoveries, like my daughter, where they were able to come off TPN, come off G-tube feeds, and just have a completely normal life. And then there are others that are slowly working towards coming off of TPN. And there are others who had never had intestinal motility in their lives, couldn't even digest breast milk, and are now experiencing intestinal motility for the first time and having ileostomy output and being able to eat food for the first time ever.
That is so good. Do you get any, I mean, the doctors, do they refer any to you, or you have to reach out to the patients by yourself?
Yeah, so the doctors at the hospital where my daughter was seen, they have been doing conferences. They go to global conferences and they do present her case, and they have sent many people my way because they've mentioned my book, and people find me and reach out. Yeah.
So, because you wrote a book about her and your journey.
Yeah, I just got it out in October of last year, and I just wanted to write her full story so that people could understand just how bad the situation was and how quickly she turned around when we got her on the GAPS diet. I mean, it was a complete transformation, and it was incredibly fast.
And that is, I mean, it's so much easier when you see the advantages at the same, I mean, quicker.
Yeah. And I think that it can give people a lot of hope that regardless of how fast your child sees improvement, if they're on the diet, they're going in the right direction. And there is healing happening, whether you see it or not. Healing.
And do you help this, what do you call the diagnosis, FPIES?
I don't have any clients with FPIES right now, but my son, funny enough, my youngest, my 13-month-old, has mast cell activation syndrome. And he also does have some FPIES reactions to some foods. So I am slowly rehabilitating him. And then hopefully, this journey with both of my kids has taught me so much to be able to really get into this specific diagnosis between SIBO, chronic intestinal pseudoobstruction, and MMIHS, I've learned so much. And now I'm hoping that with my son, I'll be able to learn enough that I can help other kids that are dealing with these really severe histamine responses and eczema and mast cell activation syndrome.
Wow, that's so great. Thankful for you and your family.
Yeah, I'm just really grateful we are all really grateful for the whole GAPS community and
Yeah.
Becky Plotner and Dr. Natasha, like all of the work that everyone in the GAPS community is doing. It's the only hope that some of us have. And without all of this, I wouldn't have my daughter here today. So, and I wouldn't have hope for my son to heal either. It's made our whole family a lot healthier because we do mostly NoPlantGAPS as a whole family between my two kids that both have pretty severe issues. And my husband and I feel the best we ever have. And a lot of just family and friends around us have adapted the GAPS diet and have started to heal a lot of their issues. Wow. Because of like seeing the way that we do things and how great we feel and the health that we've experienced. So it's been a beautiful thing all around, really. But to see specifically the kids with MMIHS that I've been working with, it's so incredible to see them healing. And the hospital, Children's Hospital of Philadelphia is the hospital. And we've been doing video calls and conferences talking about all of these kiddos that are on NoPlantGAPS now and the healing that's happening. So I'm trying to convince them to do a case series and publish the data from the kids.
Yeah.
And they're very much on board and working with us.
Wow.
And they want to know all of the ins and outs of the diet so that they can hopefully use it as a first line of defense for these kids. And yeah, instead of pharmaceutical intervention, because there was not a single motility medication that my daughter responded to, but she responded to the diet. So it speaks to the power of exactly what the GAPS mission is, and everything that Dr. Natasha is teaching is 100% spot on, even for the worst cases.
Yeah. That was so great. I got chills all over.
I know it's funny for me because every time I talk about it, it doesn't even feel real, you know. It feels like it was all just a dream. Because and I always tell people now I feel like I have 3 healthy kids. My one son is healing. I have a middle son who was 29 weeks when he was born. He was a preemie. And he's my healthiest of all my kids. He's a very hardy and healthy little guy, but he eats the same stuff that my daughter eats. And my daughter, who is just a happy, healthy 5-year-old kid. She even taught herself to do the monkey bars. Like, she's very strong. She rides her bike all day. She goes to the beach. She climbs everything. So she's able to experience a completely normal childhood now, thanks to GAPS and all the work that the whole GAPS community is doing.
Does she remember anything of past?
A little bit. We talk about it
Yeah.
frequently because we want to make sure that she can protect herself when she's out and about, that she's not going to eat the wrong food.
Yeah.
So it's an ongoing conversation in our household all the time. And she asks a lot of questions about her body and why she needs certain things that other people don't. So we're very open with her and we try to keep her as informed as possible so she can, you know, protect herself when we're not around. We do homeschool, so it's not like we're ever not around. But, you know, if she runs off on the playground, she's not going to pick up someone's candy bar and take a bite of it. And she does have some memory of the hospital, but not a ton, which I'm thankful for. But I always tell her, you know, what she's been through, and I keep her in the loop on all of it so she has an understanding and doesn't feel confused.
How do you see her diet in the future? Do you think she'll stay on the NoPlantGAPS or?
Yeah, I don't think she'll ever be able to come off of NoPlantGAPS. the great thing about NoPlantGAPS as opposed to like the carnivore diet is that NoPlantGAPS has such an emphasis on the broth, on the meat stock. And the meat stock actually was able to replace all of her electrolytes. So because she has an ileostomy, she loses electrolytes faster than other people. And they were replacing those with IV fluids. And there was no way that I could give her like Pedialyte or these other electrolyte solutions. So we didn't know how to replace her electrolytes until we found NoPlantGAPS. And now her electrolytes have been stable for 3 years. She hasn't had to have blood work or anything. Everything's been perfect. So I do think it will be a lifelong diet for her. But if it allows her to live, I mean, some
Yeah.
of these kids don't make it past a year old.
No.
So if it allows her to have a long and happy and healthy life, I think
Yeah.
it's a wonderful. And honestly, I ate NoPlantGAPS, and I do
Yeah.
most of the time, and I love it. So I think it's doable. You still feel like you have some variety if you add in
Yeah.
the fish and
Mm.
butters and things, you know.
Yeah. It's so great. It's so well done of you all. I know it's been hard. I have read your book. Must have been exhausted at times.
Yeah, it definitely felt there were definitely days when I felt like I would never sleep again or just sit down on the couch for myself for 5 minutes. But I'm we've made it through. We're on the other side, and
Yeah.
like I said, now she's she's honestly like my healthiest kid. She doesn't get sick. She doesn't there's never really anything that comes up with her anymore. It's very level and normal and easy. And she's very mature because of what she's been through. So she's
Yeah.
like my little old soul.
Yeah. And if anyone who sees this want to contact you, can I put your link in the comments?
Yeah.
Do
Yeah,
you
my
have
website
it?
is it's chealthcollective.org. And then you can put my email as well.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
will. That's so super.
absolutely.
Thank you so much for this, for your
Yeah,
time. And the
thank
book,
you.
you can buy it on Amazon. Dying to Thriving by Jessica Roman. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thanks for having me. I love sharing her story, and
Yeah.
I just hope that it touches someone else's heart and shows them that it is worth doing the work. It is worth having the discipline because you can heal, you know.
Yeah.